It didn't begin with pain or any sudden shock. That would have been easier to notice, easier to accept. Instead, it started with a quiet absence, something so subtle that you almost ignored it completely. You woke up one morning and everything looked normal, yet something inside you felt slightly off, like a dim light in a room that used to shine bright, but now flickers without warning. At first, you told yourself it was nothing serious. Maybe you were just tired, maybe work had drained you, or maybe your sleep cycle was broken. You kept moving forward, brushing it aside like a minor inconvenience, but deep down, a small voice kept whispering that something fundamental had changed, something you couldn't fully explain but couldn't completely ignore either. Days passed, and that faint discomfort slowly evolved into a pattern. Your energy didn't hit the same levels as before. Your motivation felt forced, not natural. Even simple things that once excited you now felt dull and distant. It was as if someone had lowered the volume of your life without asking for your permission. Then came the moments that truly made you pause. Your mind would be ready, focused, determined, but your body would hesitate, refusing to align with your intentions. It wasn't a complete shutdown, just a delay, a weakness, a slight disconnect that grew more noticeable with time. And that's when doubt began creeping into your thoughts. You started questioning everything. Was it stress? Was it your lifestyle? Or was it something deeper, something you didn't even have the awareness to identify? You woke up one morning and everything looked normal, yet something inside you felt slightly off, like a dim light in a room that used to shine bright but now flickers without warning. Days passed, and that faint discomfort slowly evolved into a pattern. Your energy didn't hit the same levels as before. Your motivation felt forced, not natural. Even simple things that once excited you now felt dull and distant. It was as if someone had lowered the volume of your life without asking for your permission. Inside your body, a different story was unfolding. A part of you that once functioned effortlessly had begun to shut down, not because it was damaged, but because it had been ignored for too long. Like a muscle that hasn't been used, it didn't disappear. It simply weakened, waiting for a signal that never came. Imagine a room in your house that you haven't entered for years. The air inside becomes stale, the walls gather dust, and the space slowly loses its purpose. You kept moving forward, brushing it aside like a minor inconvenience. But deep down, a small voice kept whispering that something fundamental had changed, something you couldn't fully explain, but couldn't completely ignore either. Your pelvic core, the center of your physical control and internal strength, had quietly slipped into inactivity, not because it failed you, but because you stopped connecting with it. The awareness that once kept it active had faded, and without awareness, even the strongest systems begin to decline. Science explains this as neural disconnection, where the brain gradually weakens its communication with areas that are not actively used. The signals become slower, weaker, less precise. What once felt automatic now requires effort, and what required effort before now feels almost impossible to control. At first, you told yourself it was nothing serious. Maybe you were just tired. Maybe work had drained you, or maybe your sleep cycle was broken. Your mind was constantly active, but your body remained passive, creating a gap that grew wider with each passing day. And within that gap, something else began to fade. Your sense of control. Not just physical control, but emotional and mental stability as well. You felt less grounded, less present, less connected to yourself. It wasn't dramatic, but it was real, and it was happening right under your nose. The body, when placed under constant stress, prioritizes survival over everything else. It shifts its energy away from growth, repair, and reproduction, focusing instead on maintaining basic functions. This biological response is natural, but when it becomes constant, it starts to suppress parts of you that once defined your strength. What you were experiencing wasn't random. It was a response, a signal that your system was out of balance. But instead of recognizing it as a message, you interpreted it as a problem. Then one day, something unexpected happened. You became aware, not of a symptom, not of a weakness, but of a sensation. A faint, almost forgotten feeling deep within your body, subtle yet undeniable. It wasn't strong, but it was present, and for the first time in a long time, you noticed it. That moment changed everything, because awareness is where transformation begins. The moment you feel something consciously, you create the possibility to influence it. What was once unconscious now enters your control, and what enters your control can be rebuilt. You began experimenting, gently activating that area, not with force, but with intention. At first it felt weak, unstable, almost unfamiliar, but you didn't stop. You stayed consistent, returning to that awareness day after day, slowly rebuilding a connection that had been lost over time. Each repetition strengthened the signal between your brain and your body. Each moment of focus brought that dormant area back to life. It wasn't instant and it wasn't dramatic, but it was real. Progress that you could feel, even if you couldn't fully see it yet. Your posture started to change. Your breathing became deeper. Your presence grew stronger. These weren't random improvements. They were signs that your system was realigning, that the connection you had lost was being restored piece by piece. With this reconnection came a shift in your energy, not a sudden burst, but a steady rise, a sense of stability that replaced the inconsistency you had been experiencing. You felt more in control, more aware, more grounded in your own body, and then something even more powerful happened. Your confidence returned. Not the loud, forced kind, but a quiet, natural confidence that comes from being aligned within yourself. The kind that doesn't need validation because it's rooted in awareness and control. You realized that what you had been searching for wasn't outside of you. It wasn't in supplements, shortcuts, or quick fixes. It was within your own body. This is where the concept of retention takes on a deeper meaning. It's not about suppression or denial. It's about redirection, about channeling your energy in a way that strengthens your system. In that moment, everything became clear. The problem was never your body. It was your disconnection from it. And the solution was never external. It was internal. But here's the truth most people won't accept. This process requires consistency. It requires patience. It demands that you stay aware even when results are not immediately visible. And that's where most people fail. They quit before the transformation begins. You didn't quit. You stayed with it. You kept showing up. And one morning, without warning, you felt it fully. That connection, that strength, that control, it was back. Not exactly the same as before, but stronger, more stable, more refined. It wasn't just restored, it was rebuilt with awareness. Now the question shifts. It's no longer about what's wrong with you. It's about what you're willing to do to stay connected. Because once you experience this level of awareness, you realize how powerful it truly is. If something inside you resonated, don't ignore it again. Drop a comment right now. I am awakening my power. Like this video, share it, subscribe, stay aware, stay in control, and never let your power fall asleep again.